President Ted Carter is set to move into a new role where he'll represent Nebraska on the Council of Chancellor and Presidents in the Big Ten Conference. Trev Alberts now will report directly to him and not the new chancellor, Rodney Bennett, correct? That's our new chancellor?
Right. Rodney Bennett from
Southern Miss.
From Southern Miss. Now, Sean, this isn't done.
It's starting the process to get it done.
Right. And it's not, first of all, on June 21 is the date I think the regents would vote on it, but also the Big Ten has to approve it. And it's not, I wouldn't refer to it as a slam dunk. The Big Ten bylaws have to match the University of Nebraska's situation. We'll just say situation for lack of a better word. And I guess the best way to put it right now is the lawyers are looking at it. This is not a small move, and it's not a matter of just Ted Carter filling Nebraska's chair on the Council of Presidents and Chancellors. It's much more than that. As you mentioned, Trev would answer to Ted Carter. That's part of it. So in effect, Ted Carter would oversee policy decisions, and he'd just oversee the athletic department in general. It's a huge, huge change. It's a massive change. It's never been done in Nebraska that I know of, not in recent years. It's always been the chancellor that the AD answered to. So, but Ted, now people are going to say, why are they doing this? Well, I did sit down with Ted for 45 minutes this week. And after a meeting like that with Ted, you fully understand why this makes sense, in that his understanding of sports is enormous. He was a Naval Academy soccer player. He was a superintendent of the Navy and got sports really rolling at Navy as the superintendent, not as an AD. He could be an AD. He knows that, Sean. He knows enough about the athletic arena where if he wanted to take a demotion, he could be a great AD. He understands the issues at an extremely high level.
He played a critical role to get Matt Rule here.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, no, I'm not trying to knock Ronnie Green, but I would say that Ted Carter was much more involved than Ronnie Green was in that process.
There's no doubt about it. I
mean, almost dropped 100%.
Right. yeah. I gotta go to no doubt. I'll just go to no doubt.
We have a drinking game, by the way. And last show, one guy said, "I'm on my ass drunk" after Sipple's 100%.
So yeah, I mean, Ted knows Bill Belichick very well, and Belichick, I would say, was sort of integral in this hire of Rule. I mean, he said to Ted, I mean, this is a guy you should look at, Matt Rule. So yeah, it's Ted Carter. It was a fascinating discussion. But my biggest takeaway is that he understands the issues, both national and Nebraska centric, at a high level. So Nebraska centric, he understands what the Go Big project and the renovation of Memorial Stadium. I mean, he said there's two things that I asked him about. What are the biggest challenges with that stadium renovation that will be coming? There'll be announcements coming. He said the fan experience has to be the number one thing. It can no longer be, we just got to find a way to cram 90,000 people in there. It's got to be comfort. That has to be the number one thing. And also he mentioned something I'd never heard. And he said, we have to be very mindful of security, that we've never had problems really, and we don't want to have problems. So it's not just in the stadium. He says in and around the stadium, it has to continue to be a safe environment. Those are the things on his mind.
One of the interesting things I've always thought about security at Memorial Stadium is the stadium reentry process.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not another stadium in the world where you can like leave and come back in other than Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
And some of that is because I think they know if they took the ability for a fan at halftime to go out and tailgate and then come back in, they might lose ticket holders.
Yeah. But yeah, here it happens.
I mean, you could leave. You have up till the fourth quarter, so you can miss the whole third quarter and then just come back in with your ticket stub.
Right, and he kind of made reference not to that, but when he talks about security, he just doesn't mean in the bowl or in the bowl and then in the corridors. He means all around the stadium, in the in the neighborhood, the Russian Bottoms, the whole thing. It's got to be. There's got to be. It's interesting to talk to him about that. The other thing he said that I thought was somewhat informative to Nebraska fans. They have real budget challenges at the university level, but he says, I will never cut an athletic program. He says athletics is too important to the culture, to the personality, to the feel of a campus. And I mean, he's witnessed it. He witnessed it at Navy. And he's very mindful of the fact that they've struggled in the men's big three. He says that he's optimistic about those sports, but it's got to change. And the other thing is, it's almost goes without saying, but it's almost the way, they have enrollment challenges. Sean, one way to never have enrollment challenges is for your football team to win big. They have no enrollment challenges at Alabama, I promise you. They have no enrollment challenges at Clemson, I promise you. But Nebraska has some challenges, but if they get back to winning big in football, they will not have challenges that way.
Yeah, the enrollment at Nebraska has dipped a little bit,
right?
Post-COVID especially. And, there was a time when they long strived to get it up to 30,000, and now it's below 25,000. I believe last September it was just under 24. I think the enrollment for undergrads was 23,805 last year.
So yeah, I mean, this all. I mean, as far as Ted Carter taking on this role of overseeing Husker athletics, yes, it makes sense. It is, Sean, very important that I think it's important for Nebraska that he has that position, because he's influential, and he would be really influential on that Big Ten Council of chancellors and presidents, because Sean, a lot of those people have little to no athletic background. You know what? I'm going to tell you something, and Ted knows this. He would be very influential with Tony Petitti, the new commissioner. In fact, Petitti, I'm sure, wants Ted on that board. That he wants this to happen at Nebraska, because Ted can be very helpful at the national level.
Yeah, it's rare at the academic level that you have kind of a dude factor.
They don't.
It just doesn't cross.
A lot of them would never run a mile in their lives. That's just the fact.
And you got a former Navy admiral that was a Top Gun pilot.
A Top Gun pilot who threw 125 combat missions and played for the hockey team.
That, my friend, is a dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. and he could be very influential for Nebraska. It could very much work in Nebraska's favor. Now, the issue is, Sean, the Big Ten, the other schools know that. So it gets political. It gets a little political. And that's why I kind of caution you against just saying this is going to happen.
Well, I look at
see if the Big Ten lets it happen.
And Rodney Bennett, his credentials aren't, he's never been a Power Five.
No, he's at Southern Miss. He's coming from another world. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't understand athletics. And he will be involved. Rodney Bennett will be involved. He just, Trev won't report to the chancellor if this all shakes out like they want.
And you almost feel like Trev wants it this way too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely he does. I mean, he has profound respect for Ted. Not that he doesn't have respect for Rodney Bennett, but he doesn't know him. I mean, he has a good working relationship with Ted. By the way, the other thing I wrote in Tunnel Talk, Ted had a great relationship with Frost. I would say that at the end of the line, the relationship was Frost and Ted, not Frost and Trev. It was Ted. Frost leaned on Ted as a mentor. So yeah, Ted was heavily involved. I'm not saying that Ted Carter thought that Frost should, continue as the head coach. The writing was on the wall. It spun out of control. It wasn't really a decision that had to be made. Frost made it on his own, essentially, right? That's the way I've looked at it. Is Frost? It got so bad that it just became so apparent. But throughout it all, Ted was a mentor to